Christian mother to 4 amazing children: Arabella, age 9, Wyatt, age 8, Eliana, age 5, and Tobias, age 3. I live with my 2 youngest children in a safe, loving, 3-bedroom home with a big yard, decorated bedrooms, and plenty of toys. They are thriving, happy, safe, and they go to bed every night knowing how much they are loved. But their 2 siblings are not with us. One is in foster care, and one is still in the abusive home my son was removed from. My own life began in hardship. I was born to a mother struggling with severe addiction and mental illness. DHS removed me and my siblings, likely saving my life, but separating all of us. I was adopted at about age 5, the same age as my daughter now. The loss of my siblings left a wound I still carry into adulthood. Though my adoptive family gave me material things, the home was far from filled with love. What I longed for most was belonging, family, and knowing my roots. Growing up without my siblings caused pain I still feel today. As a young adult, I looked for love in all the wrong places. I became the first in my family to have children outside of marriage. Instead of compassion, I was cut off from what little family I had left. This was due to them being Catholic. I was raising children, mostly on my own, without role models, and I struggled to maintain and find stability. When DHS stepped into my life, instead of helping me, I often felt the system worked against me. I faced serious health struggles with my physical health, including surgery and a high-risk pregnancy where I was diagnosed with hyperemesis gravidarum. I couldn't keep any food down. I tried to comply with every expectation, but often was treated not as a concerned mother, but as a problem on a timer. Still, I never gave up. After my surgery, while I was moving forward in the case, I sadly became pregnant again. For this, I carried deep guilt. I thought, what kind of mother gets pregnant when their kids are involved in DHS? 6 weeks into the pregnancy, the diagnosis came, and it became so severe I couldn't keep down a single meal. I believed this was God's punishment to me. On one particular hard day, I decided I needed help. I didn't have anybody to come sit with me during one of the worst moments of guilt. For 17 hours, I did get the help I needed. I went to the crisis center at the University of Iowa. I thought I was doing the right thing. The diagnosis I had with the pregnancy was known to cause temporary spells of depression because of the extreme physical and mental strain it can take on a body. This condition lasted for me up until the moment I gave birth. Instead of compassion and praise for asking for help when I needed it, I was punished by being put on fully supervised visits. It was stated they were concerned for my mental health. Just weeks later, the state moved to terminate my rights. Within a month, my rights were gone. There was no consideration to the impending sibling relationship, no consideration for the temporary physical health setbacks. That was the deepest pain I thought I would ever know. The stress made my condition worse. I gave birth to my baby girl 10 weeks early, weighing only 3 pounds. Yet 4 months after my termination of rights, DHS allowed me to bring that fragile infant home. She needed a car seat bed, a heart monitor, and special caffeine supplements for bradycardia episodes, and other special care. I provided it faithfully. I've always asked myself, how could I be unfit for my older children, yet trusted with a medically fragile newborn? The judge even admitted in my termination order itself that termination to one of my older children wasn't strictly necessary. There were no drugs, no hard drugs, no abuse, no severe neglect. My struggles were involved housing, relationship, lack of support, lack of knowledge of what I could gain with my medical history, and not knowing my rights. 2 years later, in 2022, I was given visitation with all 4 of my children. It was one of the most joyful times of my life. I got to watch them bond as siblings. But during those visits, my older children began disclosing abuse. When my ex discovered that they were disclosing this to me, my visits were abruptly cut. The pain was unbearable for me and my children. To this day, I'll never forget the screams that came out of me when I got that phone call. I thought I knew pain when I lost my rights, but nothing compared to watching my children lose their bond with each other. All I could do was scream on the side of the road. I wasn't screaming words, but they were pure screams of a mother's pain and the fear for my children. This year, in April, I believe, I don't have the exact time frame, my eldest son was finally officially removed from the adoptive home after years of trauma. He had been physically abused, and I was told he even had cigarette burns and other injuries. Yet I wasn't contacted by DHS. Somebody else contacted me. I fought to be recognized as his mother and as a parent of his siblings. I finally received a family notice, which by law considered me a relative. But in court, the state instead argued that my rights were terminated. I'm not a relative. The siblings don't require consideration. Meanwhile, my eldest daughter still lives in the very home my son was removed from. I pray for her safety every day. When I once sought comfort in men, I now find in music, in nature, in the love for my children, in our amazing support system. But above all, I find it in our Lord. Tomorrow I go back to court asking once again to intervene, to defend the sibling relationships, and to bring him home. Your prayers have already moved mountains. After this church prayed, the judge in my case recused herself, voiding her original denial, allowing us a second chance to present our case. I believe God's hand has guided us each step. I now have an amazing advocate and a lawyer standing beside me. The fight is about my family, but it's also about a broken system that impacts families across this nation. That is why I'm working with others on the Family Justice and Accountability Act of 2025. On October 20th, I will travel to Washington, D.C. to present this bill alongside its author, Francesca Amato, and other parents like me. I am honored to serve as Iowa's team leader on this bill. Early on, I knew that this fight was bigger than just me and my children. God was calling me to fight for change because he knew, for some reason or another, I was strong enough to handle it. And I am. I do not plan on letting him down. This bill will bring accountability, transparency, and justice to a much-needed child welfare system. For me, this fight is personal. It's about bringing my son home, keeping my children together, and making sure no other family has to endure this pain. No other mother has to stand on the side of the road screaming the anguish cries I once cried. No other mother has to hold her 5-year-old little girl in tears, crying for her siblings that she remembers, not understanding why she can't call them or play with them. I stand before you as not a perfect person, but as a mother and a sinner who has weathered storms, leaned on God, and refused to give up. I ask for your continued prayers for my children, for tomorrow's court hearing, for all of those in positions of power, including the new judge, and for this movement to bring light into a very dark system. I believe change begins with prayer. Thank you for being part of our church family. Your love and support is a gift we will never forget. Thank you.